All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 323 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. I thank you guys for the support because there was a little mix-up yesterday with the YouTube side of things. With the episode coming out, I had to re-upload it because of an issue of the actual episode. So I really thank you guys for the support and just continuously, watching the content. I really appreciate it. I've seen a couple of new faces as far as names go, a couple of new names in the comment section because the way that the podcast was uploaded at the time. And I thank you guys. But this podcast is up every morning, Monday through Friday through 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And hopefully you guys will check the podcast out. And hopefully that's not your last time listening to the podcast. If it's your first time here this morning, welcome to the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Like I said, over here we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football and everything under the umbrella. I try to keep it around those two teams because those are my favorite teams. I love talking about them, and it's going to be a really interesting episode today because we've been signing a lot of players from another team. We're going to get into that, but before I finish starting with that, I want to finish and let you guys know that I am on various podcast avenues. So just like if you have the same situation with the YouTube side of things, yesterday, I can be found on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google. I'm also on Rumble. So if anything happens to one platform, you can listen to me on another. It's one of the reasons why I did that. So that's where that comes from. Also, if you want to donate, all the links are down in the description to help the show grow. I really appreciate all the support, and I want to thank you guys. Let's go ahead and get into this. We signed another Chicago Bear to the Falcons, and Ryan Pace, he is just getting it in, you know what I mean? Former Bears GM is in the front office, and he is just bringing a lot of his guys over. So the recent signing of the Chicago Bear was Jermaine Fetty. I think I said that right. And I want to let you guys know I don't have a problem with the pickups per se, because I think a lot of these guys are fairly talented. I'm not too keen on the receiver side of things because to be quite honest, outside of the receiver from the Bengals, these guys kind of remind me of the guys that we already had before. The guy from the Lions and Damiere Byrd, they just remind me of what we had last year, but maybe things have changed. Different culture, different environment. These receivers may do better. You have a different quarterback throwing it to them as well, but that's a different story. So we're going to talk about this team. Are we the Chilanta Bearcons? Because it seems that way right now. I mean, Ryan Pace have come in and basically found a way to get a handful of players over. And like I said, I don't have a problem with the players, but I will say this: this better bring some results, because I'm not really a fan of just pulling everybody from one team. And I'm not saying everybody, because we did get some good players outside of the Chicago Bears, but I'm just looking at this. I mean, what Ryan Pace have done so far, we got Damiere Byrd, safety Tease Tabor, Elijah Wilkinson, Damian Williams. Now we got Jermaine Fetty. It's like, I think I said his last name right. If I'm wrong, let me know. It's just really weird. And not only on top of that, if you really look into the other players that we have that used to be under Pace's, regime. I mean, we're looking at guys like Mike Davis. He was actually there at one point. Cordell Patterson, James Barter, Rashad Coward, and Willie Beavers. It's really weird because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got like 11 players now that were Chicago Bears. What are we doing here? I mean, are you guys on board with this? Are you guys okay with this? Because to me, it's like I'm okay with it, but I'm kind of skeptical because Um, the Chicago Bears were okay at best, talent wise. I think last year. I mean, outside of Justin Fields, and I'm completely biased, and I will tell you this, outside of Justin Fields, I knew who that was, but the bias side of me, I definitely know who Kendall Vildor was. Kendall Vildor played for Georgia Southern. He was drafted by the Bears, and I wish he would come home to Atlanta. But that's another story for another day. But I'm just looking at the situation like, all right, what are we doing here? It's like I don't know. I'm kind of lost for words because I don't know if this is necessarily a winning formula per se. Because the Bears wasn't the type of team that was winning per se. I mean, to me, I don't want to make it seem like I'm a Debbie Downer or I'm against this. It's just, to me, is it gives me a cause to pause, basically, because I don't really know what are we getting out of this. I mean, don't get me wrong, Damian Williams, I know exactly what we're getting. These offensive linemen, we got 3 of them from there, and these guys are huge. I mean, you got some guys that are the last few linemen that we drafted, they just, to me personally, I don't think they were up to par. I just don't. So with that being said, I was kind of skeptical. I wasn't really big on McGarry. I've come to like Jalen Mayfield, but with all these linemen, somebody's coming in for their job. Somebody's coming in for both of those guys' job, and I'm here for it, honestly, because may the best man win, and that's what I want to see. This is what we need. We need people to come through and actually make some things happen. And I'm not against this at all, as far as the way of competition. But pulling guys from one team, I mean, I can understand if you're pulling guys from like a championship caliber team. You're pulling guys from the Chiefs, the Patriots, teams that are known for winning, the Bucks. And I'm kind of iffy on the Bucks to an extent because I mean, the Bucks are a good team, don't get me wrong, but I mean, when you got number 12 at quarterback, I mean, you're almost guaranteed 11 wins minimum. But there's not a knock on anybody else, but I'm just saying, I mean, I don't think I'm wrong on that end. But, we're pulling guys from the Bears, and I'm like, all right, okay. And there's nothing to take away from guys like Rashad Evans, or you got Dean Marlowe, and, you got some other guys that came through, like, Alden Tate. You got these guys here, and it's like, all right, I like the sound of that. But if it ain't the Bears, is either like somebody from the Titans, Rashad Evans, Bo Brinkley. It's funny. I don't know. I mean, maybe because these guys are used to having people that was under their wing. That's why Marcus Mariota is basically here. You know what I mean? And I don't have a problem with that. I don't. At the end of the day, I don't have a problem with it. But it's like if you're gonna pull from a team to this magnitude, I personally would like to look at from a more established team that has more going for himself. But I will say this, just like I said on the last episode, this does give these guys a chance for more of a prove-it deal. And I don't have a problem with prove-it deals. Elijah Wilkinson and Tobias Tabor, I think both of those on 1-year contracts. Damian Williams on a 1-year contract. I'm almost certain all these guys, I'm pretty sure all these guys on a 1-year contract. Did I say Dean Marlowe was a wide receiver earlier? If I did, please forgive me. I meant Kadero Hodge. Isn't both of them from the Lions? Well, what is going on here with picking guys from the same team? I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm tripping. Am I tripping? I don't know what I'm talking about? Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I mean, when he played, let's get into some of these players. Let's talk about Jermaine Effendi. I please, if I'm messing this wrong, is the I silent or what? Effendi? If it's wrong, please let me know. He spent 2 years with the Bears, started all 16 games in 2020. 2022, he suffered a knee injury in week 5 and not activated till late December. So he was activated again. So I guess that makes it okay that he's able to play. And phone's going off. But my thing is I'm okay with it, but you just think about stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm not really sure how I feel about this overall. But I think it's a solid pickup. Damian Bird. Now I'm not a big fan of these receivers, but I'm going to give this a shot. Wait a minute. I heard this somewhere that Damian Bird posted a 4.2840 time. I heard that somewhere, but I kind of just overlooked it. All right, I'm in good. All right, he's in my good graces. I think I like him. He played for the University of South Carolina. I have a thing for University of South Carolina. It's not good, but if you've been listening to this way before I went solo and started doing this podcast, if you've been around episode like 100, 120, episode 45, if you've been around here that long, I don't like the South Carolina Gamecocks, but that's another issue another day. But with that being said, he's fast. Okay. Interesting. All right, who else I can look at real quick? Who else is here that was a Chicago Bear? Tabor, I think I did a spotlight on him a while back. Let me see if I can find him real quick. Give me a second, everybody. But nevertheless, I feel like these guys are fairly pretty solid. But like I said, I'm not a big fan of everybody just coming from one team. It just seems like you're not really trying to look at one area. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm tripping. Let me look at this right here. All right, here we go. Let's look at these stats right here. Tease Tabor. He played 8 games in 2021. No, I'll take that back. Let me look. All right, here we go. Wait for my computer to pull up. All right, let's see. Tease Tabor. He is. All right, so with his stats, playing for Chicago Bears, he played 6 games, started 1, 6 solo tackles. So he didn't do too much. All right. all right. We already talked about Damian Williams. I talked about him, but he didn't play too much as well. He opted out of COVID. And I talked about him when I did the other episode. So I'm not going to go into too many other stats for him, per se. As far as these other guys, let me see. I should have had this up earlier, but I don't know. But nevertheless, you got a couple other guys that's going to be here to play, and it is cool. It's not too much to really look into. Their offensive linemen, not many stats that you can talk about. Basically, you're going to look at how many games they played, and that's fine. And I just think at the end of the day, we are going in a direction that's pretty interesting. Because like I said, I didn't realize how many guys that was for Chicago Bears that are jumping ship and signing with the Falcons. I'm really, really surprised. So I mean, we're looking like a mix between the Bears and the Falcons right now. That's why I named this title Chilanta Bearcons. What does this really mean for the team? I mean, does this help? Does this hurt? I'm not really like I'm just scratching my head because I'm not really sure. I do like the signings. I just don't like them. They're coming from one team. It just seems like it comes off as kind of lazy. Like we're not really doing our due diligence to get players from all over the league. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, I do understand that we have gotten other players. Like I said, Kadar Hodge and Dean Marlowe. Alden Tate. We also signed Lorenzo Carter. So we do have some people. But I mean, does this bring success? Because to me, I mean, when you look at all these players that are solid picks, and don't get me wrong, I 100% believe that this Jermaine Fetty, I think that's a really solid pickup. Rashad Evans is definitely a very solid pickup. I think the Falcons are still in a situation where they're going to try to win some games and still get these guys on prove-it deals and make these guys ball out to get a bigger contract, whether it be here in Atlanta or will it be somewhere else. And I think that's, like I said earlier, or I said it in the other podcast, I think that is a very, very solid, economic move. Because, all these guys with prove-it deals, they're playing for something and you're not spending a lot of money on them. And it's like you can get a really good return on investment if a few of these guys ball out. Now, I said this on the last episode. If you get a couple of these guys ball out with the cap space we got next year, I think it's going to be a pretty good look. The only issue I have, like I said, is the fact that these guys are coming from one organization, and to be quite honest, that organization wasn't all that good. Now I will say this, because I know some people already said this: is that an indictment on the players? I don't think so, because I really believe that coaching could have something to do with it. I don't think the coach for the Chicago Bears was the best coach. To be quite honest, in some cases I felt like he was kind of incompetent. But that's another story for another day. Because I will say this. I felt like they could have utilized Justin Fields a little bit better, and they failed to do so. But nevertheless, I just feel like what we have now with this team, I think with Terry Fontenot and what is Pace, what Pace is doing, I think it's a pretty good look overall. It's not like they got a bunch of guys here that can't play. I think these guys can play. But I just feel like it just rubs me the wrong way when you get all these guys from one organization. It's just something about it just isn't. It isn't. I know what you guys know. I know you guys understand what I'm saying. It's something about it just, But I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, I don't want to hold you guys up any longer because I could talk about the Chilanta Bearcons all day. I feel like the moves are solid. I just feel like it's kind of weird that it all came from this one team. And but I do feel like these guys can play. I think these guys can make something happen. If the guys I got on the screen, these guys that are basically was signed this year alone, the other guys that I mentioned are, they've been here for a while. The Cordell Pattersons, Mike Davises of the world, Willie Beavers. I don't even know if he's still on the team, but you know what I mean. I just feel at the end of the day, we should be in a situation where we can continue what we're doing. I don't think that we're going to we're in a good position where we may not go below 7 wins, but that schedule is brutal. We'll talk about that at a later time, because one thing I will say, a lot of these guys here may not even make the team. You got to think about it. Once you go through cut day or whatever, you don't know who may be around after people get cut after, around the preseason time. You just don't know. But right now, it's looking kind of funny. Let me know what you guys think. If you like this content, hit the like button, share this content. Subscribe to the YouTube or Rumble channel if you haven't already. Also, subscribe to any of the podcast avenues: Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google, just in case you don't want to have a situation like we had last time where my basically my YouTube episode just did not show up, and the guys on YouTube was probably trying to figure out what's going on. I had to upload it later, but at the same time, if you're subscribed to any of the other avenues, you can listen to the podcast on other avenues. So that's one of the benefits of subscribing to one more than the other. So hopefully you guys take heed to that. If you haven't already, let people know what we're doing over here. Eagles Nation, Falcons Nation, let them know what we're doing over here. Also, if you feel it in your heart to donate, all the links are down in the description. I will definitely appreciate it because it helps the channel grow. It helps the podcast grow. And also, last but not least, I do have a Patreon where I do an extra episode every Sunday. And we talk about things kind of outside of the Falcons and the Georgia Southern Eagles. So hopefully you guys sign up for that as well. All right, y'all. I'm going to get up out of here. You guys take it easy. You guys be blessed. Peace.